What up, y'all? It's your boy, the MMA Mechanic. Today, we're gonna do a recap for UFC Fight Night Paris. I didn't get the recap out earlier. I fell asleep. I was very upset. I was very emotional after the fight. You shouldn't do anything after you're very emotional. One thing I have to learn is that we have to. I've been watching the sport too long to be getting super hyped up on fighters before. But I wanted the fighting nerds. I wanted them to be like my okay, I knew from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? I wanted them to be that for me. And I still have a chance with Gene Silva, okay, and Carlos Prates. He's looking pretty good right now. But the hype train got derailed today, guys. Listen, this was one of the best cards of all ever. I've been watching the UFC forever. I am Unk, right? Let me just put that out there now. You know what I'm saying? This was one of the best fight cards I've ever seen. Definitely one of the best of this year. Um, there was 11 finishes on the card tonight. Only two fights went to decision. I was 7-5 on picks tonight. I did make some emotional picks. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna work on that. But 7-5. Listen, I'm still hovering around that 70% win ratio. Um, so yeah, stick with your boy. Listen, the Paris home crowd, you guys are goaded, man. Goaded. They were loud, they were excited, they were happy for their guys. Any other country, you guys need to take note. They were ruckus, man. That was a loud crowd. Good for them. Good for the fighters, man. I am happy for the fighters. Listen, I'm not. I know I trash BSD a lot. Um, but that was a very good performance. BSD, Caio Fernandes, Mason Jones, Ante Delija, all won performance of the night. They were all performance of the night winners. Guys, we had people getting wheelchaired out of the octagon. That is how crazy this fight now. It was such a crazy card, right? So we're gonna start with the Imavov versus Borralho. Listen, Imavov just looked like he had an answer for everything. There's nothing Borralho could do. I did think it was. Listen, the fight card. The judges gave it a 50-45. This is one of the two fights that went to decision. The judges gave it a 50-45 in favor of Imavov and a 49-46 twice for two judges. I just thought that the fight was. You can have a close fight where a fighter wins like every round, but the rounds were decently close. Imavov clearly did win majority of the rounds. But I'm gonna be honest. The first round was up for grabs, and the third round was up for grabs. I thought that Barajo, if you look at the numbers and just watching it, Barajo was busier in the first round, even though he was on the back foot. And Imavov took octagon control of the octagon immediately. And Imavov's footwork is something to behold, man. He knows how to come in on angles. He knows how to cut the cage off. He's very good at that. And that one thing about that's good is that it helps you conserve energy. If you're good at stalking and cutting off the cage, you don't have to chase a guy or move too much to get to a guy. That puts you ahead, especially in like a 5 round fight. And Imavov showcased that to beautiful effect today, man. He was dominant early, precise striking. He was using the jab, stepping elbow, and just Imavov he's nasty, man. He's nasty with that boxing, with those strikes. He really tries to hurt guys. He's mean. You can tell every single punch he's trying to hurt you badly. He does not care about you. He doesn't care about your well-being. He does not care at all. He's savage, man. And you can see it in the way he fights. Quick combinations. He's keeping Borralho at bay. Every time Borralho would try to get close, Borralho would get stung. And so, listen, this is one of my early critiques on Borralho is that he doesn't throw enough. Like, if you're in a fight, right? I said this in my prediction video. If you're in a fight and you know that you are potentially going to get a title shot after this, you need to be in there going for it, bro. If you get knocked out, man. Go out on your shield. You have a good chin. You've been rocked before. I think that Borralho, listen, understanding that Imavov does have a little bit of a cardio issue, press the action, man. You know, press the action. He did pick it up a little bit in the third round, but you got to be on it early, man. Forcing, mixing in more takedowns. He's 0 of 5 on takedown attempts. Imavov stuffed every single one. But I think that if Borralho is more relentless on his takedown attempts, or at least getting the fight in a clinch. When he had the fights in clinch position, he was stronger, and you saw that when the fight got into a clinch position. Borralho would often push him up on the fence and hold him, and utilize that more early, especially early when Imavov is fresh and he's beating you up a little bit, taking control of the octagon, landing nasty combinations. Grab him, and utilize that, land knees in the clinch. We saw that in moments you were doing that. Um, yeah, Borralho, I thought that he would have a smarter game plan. I thought he'd be more aggressive, understanding what's at stake. Listen, it's still, I personally watching it, and I know this might have been an emotional reaction. I gave Borralho round one, and I gave him round three. It could have went either way with those rounds, but I just thought that he landed more. He was busier, um, and Imavov just, but it was the rounds that Imavov won, he clearly won, and then the rounds that I thought Borralho won could have went either way. You know what I mean? So just that visual right there by the refs is what is gonna give Imavov the advantage. He was stalking the whole time. He looked more comfortable. He looked, like the guy that at any moment could put it away. Where Borralho just looked very tentative on the back foot on his bike. Borralho did have success with the leg kick. I thought that he was going to utilize. I said this in my prediction video. I thought Borralho was going to utilize that leg kick more, and he just failed to do that. Um, yeah, it was. Again, he landed some decent strikes in the round three. Um, round three he landed frequently, a little bit more than I think the two judges that gave him a round was round three. That was definitely his best round. Although I do think, like I said, watching it live, I thought that round one, Borralho had won that round as well. But like I said, it was a close round, and when you have close rounds like that, and a guy is stalking and being more the aggressor, sometimes the judges will swing that way. Yeah, but the fourth and fifth, it just looked like Imavov just takes back control. Whatever momentum that Borralho was picking up, he was dominantly striking him, controlling the range. His jab combination just worked, and he continued to find the target over and over again. He made Borralho uncomfortable. He was in a rhythm, a flow state. And you saw that, man. Imavov is good, man. I don't think that he's gonna have. I just don't think he's gonna be able to stuff Chimaev's takedowns, and I think that ultimately that's what's going to be the problem in that fight. But yeah, good win for Imavov, man. Good win for Imavov, and again, the home crowd was behind him. These loud, ruckus. They were behind their guys tonight, man. And on to the next fight. So we were again. I said 7-5 on picks tonight. We did get that fight wrong. The Imavov versus Borralho. I did pick Borralho to win. He did not win, so we're 0-1 to start the night. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Huffy. Benoit Saint-Denis was just dominant. Listen, this is he's on a 2-fight win streak. This is a good win, but we didn't know. This is what we didn't know about Ruffy, and I said it in my prediction video. I was dead wrong about this one. This was the one that I was probably the most gung ho on. I'm gonna be honest. Both the fighting nerds I thought were gonna put on better performances tonight. I made individual videos for both of these fights. I'll put that in the description if you want to make fun of me for it. Some people have already, but I'm I could take that on the chin. It is what it is. We still got a pretty good win rate. But Benoit Saint-Denis was dominant immediately, man. Came out immediately, secured takedowns. He didn't give Ruffy a chance to do anything. Ruffy may have threw a handful of strikes in this fight. Benoit Saint-Denis did not give him a chance whatsoever. Pressured him. Was heavy on top when he took him down. Right? Got an early takedown. He was in full mount within the opening minute. He was threatening arm triangle chokes. Listen, Ruffy, I will give it to him. He did work his way out of some tough positions. Some positions that I thought, okay, this is definitely a finish, and then he would work his way out of it, But the hype train got derailed severely for Huffy today, man. I mean, I was saying things like Huffy by assassination. Oh my goodness, man. But I could take it. I could take it on the chin, okay? It was not Huffy by assassination, I'll tell you what. It was definitely not Huffy by assassination. It was more BSD by assassination. But Huffy, he landed a flying knee. When he landed that flying knee, I was like, okay. Um, but man, he was just defensive the whole fight. Um, BSD got a face crank in the second round. I mean, it was pretty much the same thing in the second round. BSD came out the face crank and just rips the guy's jaw to place, and not literally, but figuratively. And Huffy taps, So Huffy has some things to work on. First, I think Huffy needs to be more, just throw more, man. I think he could. There were moments where he had a chance. He landed some shots. I think that if he was a little bit more busy, I think he could have had a better chance. But listen, I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk, man. He lost badly. Cabrajo lost pretty bad. So we take that on the chin. I still have Gene Silva. Okay? I'm very high. I used to be very high to fighting nerds, but I still have Gene Silva, and we're just gonna have to live with this tonight, man. On to the next fight. We got Modestas Bukauskas. He wins by buzzer beater. He lands a disgusting elbow on Paul Craig. Disgusting elbow on Paul Craig. Flatline Paul Craig with it 1 second left on the clock. The ref steps in and just calls the fight off. Bukauskas was dominant early, dictating the pace, dominant ground and pound. I think Paul Craig eventually pulled guard after getting beat up on the feet. And he pulled guard, and I think that's where Bukauskas just kind of like transitions and into dominant position, throwing a lot of ground and pound, a lot of elbows, and then one elbow caught him at the end and just puts Paul Craig away to sleep. Listen, Paul Craig retired tonight, and we like to clown on Paul Craig, but Paul Craig's resume is underrated, man. Let's talk about it. Big Ank, he beat Magomed Ankalaev, who's the current champ. He beat Nikita Krylov. He beat Jamal Hill, who's a prior champ. Andre Muniz, Shogun Hua, Tyson Pedro. Paul Craig he's had a great career of Hail Marys. He's the Hail Mary guy. He'll come out of nowhere with a triangle choke or some type of submission. And that's what Paul Craig's career was about. And his stare downs and face and stare offs are unrivaled. I mean, he has some of the most intense stare downs ever. I think he beats Alex Pereira on that. And listen, shouts out to Paul Craig, man. It was still, now that we're seeing a lot more guys retire, your Dustin Poirier's, your Paul Craig's, it is kind of tough to watch that happen. I've been through this before where we've seen the changing of the guard. I remember I said I was Unk. I've been through this before where we saw the new guard come in, and I think we're starting to see that now. And it's kind of sad to see some of these old unks go. But yeah, Paul Craig, shout out to you on your career, man. This was good. You were getting knocked out almost every fight, and you needed to retire, to be honest. Because and just you have some good wins. You could ride off into the sunset to say you beat the champ and a former champ in Jamal Hill, and some other good wins too as well. So on to the next, Bolaji Oki versus Mason Jones. Mason Jones gets awarded fight of the night. This was a pretty crazy fight. I thought that Bolaji Oki had a better. Let's see. Bolaji Oki came out and he was aggressive, hurting Mason Jones, hurting him badly. And I think that Bolaji Oki, if he would have picked his shots, he could have gotten the finish tonight. But he's swinging like crazy, missing a lot of those shots that he was throwing to put Mason Jones away because he had Mason Jones hurt bad. But he was missing a lot of those shots, and I think that he just picked his shots a little better, worked to the body, chewed up his legs, continued to work, change levels on Mason Jones. I think he could have probably won that fight. He had him hurt bad. Yeah, he dropped Mason Jones twice. It looked like it was gonna be a finish, but Jones survives. I think he got a takedown in the last minute. Spent the majority of the last minute of the fight landing ground and pound. Mason Jones is a dog, and I almost picked him, but I got convinced to go otherwise. Almost picked him, because he's a dog, man. He is. But I do think, like I said, I do think that had Bolaji been a little bit more composed and methodical with how he was picking him apart, because he was landing early on Bolaji. He was hurting him. If he been a little bit more composed with how he was delivering some of those shots, I think he could have put Mason Jones away. And I've said that twice already, so I'm gonna stop saying it. Yeah, in the second round, Mason Jones starts to bully him, throwing him to the ground, taking him down, and just he got full mount and was just raining down elbows in the second round, man. Raining down elbows on Bolaji and gets the finish. The ref steps in. We see Mason Jones gets a performance of the ninth victory. On to the next one, Rhys Mckee versus Alex Sola. Rhys Mckee, there were moments in this fight for him. I think that Alex Sola started in round one, came out very aggressive, real good head kick, straight lefts to open the fight. He was changing levels. He got a takedown. Mckee was able to get back to his feet. Against the fence, Sola attempted another takedown, and Mckee defended it. So the first round I gave to Alex Sola. I thought he landed the better shots. I thought he came out very aggressive. That karate stance, the speed was there. You could see that Rhys Mckee struggled with the speed early of and the athleticism of Alex Sola. Round two, Rhys Mckee started to press the action a little bit. Started landing some nasty uppercuts, man. Heavy uppercuts to Alex Sola, and I was getting a little worried. I was like, man, because I had picked Alex Sola to win, and I was getting a little worried. You saw the tide turning for Rhys Mckee in the second round, but the third round came, and Sola just was just very evasive in the third round. He was able to land a left hook to the body that rocked Mckee badly. He dropped him with the uppercut. He followed up with some ground and pound strikes. The referee, Hardwick stepped in and stopped the fight. It was kind of an early stoppage, but to me, it looked like when he landed that uppercut that dropped, it looked like Mckee was out a little bit. So I'm not mad at the stoppage, but I do understand the argument though, because Mckee kind of he you know he he was arguing with Hardwick about it pretty quickly, so I can understand. But again, that fight ended in a finish for Alex Sola. He looked good, man. I'm excited to see where his career goes. Rhys Mckee, he's coming off a pretty dominant doctor stoppage victory in his last fight, so he had some momentum. Alex Sola comes in and derails that. Rhys Mckee, I think he's like 1-5 now in his career, in the UFC career, and so he's not having a good start. Not having a good start, but this is what I predicted would happen, and it happened the way I predicted. So William Gomis versus Robert Ruchala. This is exactly what I predicted would happen. William Gomis would just use his footwork. He was very elusive in this fight. One of the few. So this is the second unanimous decision fight. The judges gave it a 30-27, 29-28, and a 29-28 to William Gomis. He was just the more tactical guy. He was quicker. He was out of range when he needed to be. He used great footwork. He was landing some nasty body kicks, man. He stayed long, and he was landing some nasty body kicks to Ruchala that obviously he was Ruchala looked very uncomfortable with some of those body kicks were landing. They were fast, man. William Gomis is fast. Round two, I think Ruchala that was his best round. He did get a takedown, and he was able to utilize top control. He was heavy on top. He was landing some short punches. Gomis, I think, weathered the storm, got back to his feet, finished strong. He landed a spinning back kick, and I think that hit. I think that one landed. Yeah, that one landed pretty flush. The spinning back kick. I think he had a high kick too as well. So again, it's much of the same in the third round. Gomis is just handling the range, controlling the range, mixing in jabs, teeps, low kicks. You know, uh, I think that Ruchala landed a head kick in the third round. It looked like it was swinging the momentum, but Gomez just regained control of the fight, controlling the fight at range. Gets a takedown at the end of the round, and just you know rides it out. Rides out the rest of the round with that takedown. Gets the unanimous decision victory, and yeah, Gomez's rebounds from a loss, and yeah, we'll see what they do. They give Gomez a lot of these, either up and comers or guys that are new to the division, and we'll see what's next for Gomez. But he did look good with those body kicks landing. That was some of the most damaging shots I've ever seen Gomez land. He throws a lot of nothing punches, but those were obviously hurting Ruchala. So yeah, good win for William Gomez. Omar Sy, I will say though, I'm not surprised that the fight went to decision for William Gomez. We know what he is, a decision merchant. So Omar Sy gets a first round TKO versus Brenson Romero. Sy came out strong. He just looked like Big Brother today. He was mixing in his strikes with the wrestling. Nice jab. He took Brenton Romero down pretty early and had top control. I think Ribeiro attempted a Kimura, but Omar Sy was just too dominant on the ground, landing elbows, and the referee stepped in at 4:42 in the first, and Sy gets a pretty dominant first round victory. The takedown at the ground and pound. He just looked like Big Brother out there and gets the first round TKO on Brenson Ribeiro. We got Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. Ante Delija gets his revenge. 10 years in the making. He's been brewing this up for 10 years, He came out early, exploded at the gate with relentless pressure. He was throwing very, very hard shots. Tybura was able to weather the storm early. He got a takedown. Ante Delija gets back up, swarms Tybura again with shots on the fence, and gets a first round TKO. Tybura was covering up. He was covering up. There was not much he could do in this fight, and this is what I thought was gonna happen. I predicted this to happen, first round TKO. For Ante Delija. He looked good. Tom Aspinall was very, very happy. Looked like he was emotional or something after the fight. So, yeah. But listen, Ante Delija, he looks fast, man. I know he's older, but he's a heavyweight, so that doesn't matter as much. I think he's like 34, 35-ish. So we know age as a heavyweight doesn't. He has very powerful, kind of quick. He's fast, man. So I can see him putting a lot of those guys away at heavyweight. And what happens if he has to fight Tom Aspinall? I don't think he's that good though. I do think that once he starts getting into that top 7, we'll start seeing guys kind of take. Tybura got the takedown pretty easily. I think that's what probably happens. And so we'll see, though. We'll see. He looks fast. He looks strong. He looks powerful. Yeah, good win for Ante Delija. On to the next. We got Kai Fernandes versus Harry Hardwick. Man, Harry Hardwick got strolled out of the octagon in a wheelchair. Kai Fernandes, he has some amazing kicks. Look, all of his fights, his kick game is serious, man. He hurt his leg with the first calf kick he threw. He was relentless with the calf kicks. I mean, Harry Hardwick's calves were destroyed, visibly destroyed immediately. Attempted to switch stances, Harry Hardwick, but none of it mattered, man. Harry Hardwick, he likes to use that damage, that boxing. There's no chance. I mean, when you destroy someone's legs, he was limping around the octagon, and Kai Fernandes just lands a vicious leg kick, and Hardwick crashes to the canvas. He couldn't even get up, literally. 3:21 into the first round. Pretty brutal stuff for Kai Fernandes. Good win. I think he's on like a 2-fight win streak. He's probably like, I think, what, 3-4 in the UFC now, Kai Fernandes. So, yeah, good win for him. We got Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. This fight happened exactly how I thought it would. I did say that Sam Patterson, both tall, rangy guys. I did say that Sam Patterson just hits harder. Trey Waters fights with his hands at his waist. He does not utilize defense. He tries to stay elusive, uses height as a defense. You can't do that against a guy who has some power. And I thought that's what the difference was. Trey Waters was pressing action early. He busted up Patterson's nose. But yeah, Patterson rocks him with, I think, a 1-2 and hurts him badly. And it was a standing TKO, just swarmed in. Trey Waters was kind of out on his feet. I kind of get it. As far as why the ref would step in. But like I said, this is exactly what I said would happen. I thought that two guys that similar height, similar. Trey Waters is even taller, but I thought that Sam Patterson, just because he does hit a little bit harder. Trey Waters doesn't really have punch power like that, man. Even though he was busting up Sam Patterson's nose, there's a clear difference in who had the punching, the power advantage. And Patterson's now on a 4-fight win streak. He calls out Neil Magny on the mic after the fight's over, and I think that's a pretty good call out. But two tall, rangy guys, and he would definitely, Neil Magny will definitely test him for sure. So maybe he gets that fight, and we see if he can start moving into the top 15. So yeah, I like that call out for Sam Patterson. On to the next, we got Brad Tavares versus Robert Brychek. We got this one wrong. Robert Brychek looked like how he should have looked like against Ihor Potieria. When you see someone fight Ihor Potieria and gets just completely schooled, I can't pick you, man. And that's why I picked against him. If that didn't happen, I probably would have picked Robert Brychek. Brad Tavares' game, though, man, he got, Brychek applied pressure early. He was ripping to Tavares' body. He landed a shot up top and hurt Brad Tavares badly. Swarms him. That fight could have easily been finished in the first, but Brad Tavares is tough. He weathers the storm, even got a takedown in the first round, which is crazy. The second round I gave to Brad Tavares after getting brutalized in the first. Comes back in the second round, landing hard leg kicks. But neither guy did too much. Maybe Robert Brychek didn't want to punch himself out. But in the third round, he comes out and unloads a vicious right hand near the fence and drops Tavares. Drops him badly with them, and then follows up, swarms him with a swarm of punches on the fence. And the referee just jumps in with 1:43 left in the first round, and hands Brychek a TKO victory. This is a great rebound again for Brychek from his Pretoria loss. That was not a good look. He mentioned that on the mic. So yeah, good win for him. He looked very impressive, very powerful, very strong. So I'm excited to see who he fights next. On to the next, though, we got Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Andreas Gustafsson. This was a domination. Rinat Fakhretdinov KOs Andreas Gustafsson in the first round. Now, I did say that Andreas Gustafsson, when he runs into a power puncher, he would get put away. I was wrong about who that would be. Rinat, I doubted his power. I've seen Rinat in some decisions, and we know he's gotten knockouts in before, but he hasn't looked good in his last couple. So I went with Andreas Gustafsson, but again, I did highlight this in my prediction video that he was going to run into someone with power. He lunges forward, trying to get you into that clinch so he can work his Greco-Roman style of clinch work. And he gets caught. Rinat was very explosive right out the gate, relentless pressure. He didn't want to get pressured. The game plan was clear because Andreas is gonna pressure you, and Rinat knew that, and he said, we're not having that happen today. So great game plan to come out early, hard and often. He lands a body shot that visibly hurt Gustafsson. He was very uncomfortable after that. but then unleashes a flurry of punches against the cage. He drops Gustafsson, sits him down and just unloads on him on the in on against the fence, and the rest steps in. So good win for Rinat. He wins by first round TKO, man. This card was crazy. Shannon Bannon versus Sam Hughes. Exactly what I thought was going to happen. Shannon Bannon is not good, Sam Hughes comes in, is more dominant, gets takes down early. Finishes her by a rear naked choke in the second round. She pressured her. She was just a more dominant, controlled octagon, did what she wanted. Sam Hughes gets a dominant, pretty good victory over Shauna Bannon. Sam Hughes is a vet, she's had some gritty. Her record doesn't look great, but she's good, So she's a tough out. Even when she loses, she's a tough out. So that is all we got, guys. Again, great fight card. Legendary fight card. I mean, 11 of the 13 fights were finishes. You were on the edge of your seat the entire time. You were screaming the entire time. I didn't get to stream, live stream like I wanted to. I was trying to get the setup right, but I ran into a lot of technical issues. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there, But good fight card nonetheless. Fighting Nerds hype train got derailed. And we will see what happens next week when Jean Silva fights a Diego Lopez, and hopefully I'm right on that one because I'm gung ho on that too. So we shall see what happens, guys. Until the next time, please hit the comment, like, subscribe, bell icon, share, all of that. Until next time, cheers.